Streaming Saturdays into your place from Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. It's the Virtual Grip Network's third round coverage of the Bootleg Racing League's Late Model Invitational Series Season 26. If the excitement of sim racing is generated by the action on the track, then the drama is ridden by the points race. And with the way things are stacking up in the championship standings, this season is reading somewhere between Tolstoy and Dickens. After 2 rounds, 6 points separate the top 6 drivers. There has already been a swap at the top, and lurking below the surface, like the primary antagonist in a Peter Benchley novel, is 18-time champ hungry for another. Season 22 title holder Ricky Harden moves to the top of the standings, dropping opening round winner Mike Holloway to 6th, but still only 6 points behind Harden. Sandwiched between those two are, in order, Adam Shane, Todd Liston, Matt Hoos, Michael Goodman. After the reigning champ missed the season opener, J.R. Shepard made his season debut by winning round 2 at Martinsville and now sits a distant but very shrinkable 33 points back in 19th place. If this season were a novel, it would demand to be devoured in one sitting, but this page-turner is published one chapter at a time. So pull the lever on the lazy boy. Leave the lamp turned off because there's no reading required as the Chapter 3 simulated short track racing action streams straight to your recliner. From the home of the Grand Ole Opry, hello and welcome on this Saturday night, April 13th, 2024. Ricky Harden the Wall Harden joins yours truly, Bill Soupon, high up in the BGN broadcast booth to bring you our words eye view. Replay Ryan Senefer, turn the knobs and push them the sliders. Okay, folks, since we're at the fair, I'm going to wander over and inspect the Blue Ribbon livestock while my partner Ricky tells you about the track.
Yes, sir. Nashville Fairgrounds is a big short track as far as short tracks go. Lots of banking and lots of speed here every time we come. Last night, the SK Modifieds put on a really clean show. They're in the throttle quite a bit. Went caution free. So we're going to see if these late model stocks can do the same thing tonight. They drive fairly similar. You can stay in the throttle quite a bit. You're on the chip pretty early down the straightaways. So that can make your runs die out, and it can make it a little hard to get the passes done. What is to be seen is where the dominant line is going to be. In the SKs, it trended toward the top of the track. In the late model stocks, I tend to think it's going to be toward the bottom of the track, but you got to look out in turns 1 and 2. There's big bumps right in the center, and if you catch the apron, you can spin that car right around. So we'll be looking out all night, see what these guys are doing, and should be a lot of fun.
I'm back. The Blue Ribbon Hog is named Mona, and I got to agree with the judges. She is a winner indeed. You know, tonight's broadcast is made possible because of the generosity of our viewers. From everyone here at VGN, we thank you all. You know, let's take a quick look at the points. With drivers like Steven Spieth, Austin Belke, Brendan Myers, Donnie Moore, both Shinosky brothers, and race winner J.R. Shepard all making their season debut at Martinsville, the number of drivers who have raced at least once this season balloons to 27, with 18 having raced in both events. You know, a 3rd and a 6th is enough to put Jeffrey Harden at the top. A 3rd and a 7th is easy math for Adam Shane, just a point back. Todd Liston was the only Martinsville driver to go all 100 laps incident-free. Matt Hoos's best result was a 5th in round 1. Nobody picked up more incident points at Martinsville than Michael Goodman. He collected a whopping 24. Mike Holloway can hang his hat on an opening round win. Unfortunately, Mike has not shown up yet. Double Deuce Bruce Pearson is still looking for his first top 5. That's not the case for Ruben Altice, who gained 9 Martinsville spots to come home in 5th. The Butcher of Baton Rouge, Joe Snyder, joins Pearson on that top 5 safari. And it's been feast or famine for Kurt Smith. An opening round 2nd was followed by a disastrous 25th. Nevertheless, Smith hangs on inside the top 10 to be on the graphic. And that's going to bring us to our soup of the day over-under spotlighted driver. And Simon and Poindexter has chosen my Friday night booth partner, John Hine, as the over-under driver. They're putting the line at 10.5. Ricky, bet the under if you think John will finish in the top 10. Bet the over, 11th or worse. What say you?
Well, we'll see if another broadcaster can prove me wrong, but I'm going to take the over on John Hine. I hope he can prove me wrong, though.
Well, you're all pulling for John, but sometimes you got to bet with your brain, not with your heart. Let's go ahead and run down the standings for you now. In the past, if we saw the chief, former police chief of Plain City, Ohio, Steve Hilbert, on the pole, he would be one nervous driver, but he has upped his game, Ricky. He's going to be starting on the pole. Let's see how long he can stay there. Chris Haslip is going to be starting outside of him in the second spot. Who's in row 2?
That'll be the double deuce of Bruce Pearson starting on the inside of row 2 with New York's Michael Goodman to his outside in 4th.
Former champion Donnie Moore, but he was champion since seasons 2 and 4. That's a long time ago. He'll be starting in 5th. The ribeye Joe Snyder starting in 6th.
Starting in 7th, it's my brother from another mother. It's going to be Jeffrey Harden with Matt Shinosky to his outside.
Sitting high up in the points, Adam Shane and Todd Liston, 9th and 10th.
There he is. The winner from last week, J.R. Shepard, he's going to roll off in 11th place tonight. Makes his job a little easier than typical when you win. You usually invert back to 15th, but we had a couple of no-shows. So starting 12th beside him is going to be Tom Hilbert in the 61.
In the Baker's dozen spot, it's Joe Segala and the younger of the Shinosky brothers, Tim, in 14th.
There's another one to look out for in 15th. It's Jason Minda in the 45 car. And to his outside, Austin Belkey in the 24. Strong showing last night in the SK, so we'll see what he can do tonight.
Canadian John Wilson in 17th. He's going to be inside of Kurt Smith.
Aiden Young making his first appearance of the season, starting 19th. Scott Negus, fastest in practice, starting 20th.
Hidden Blackjack, the Caveman, Trey Bloom, and John Hine, our spotlighted driver in the double deuce spot. Glad you are with us. The perfectly mesmerizing Josie Kirkland pulls the pace car down pit lane, turns the control over the field to Steve Hilbert. Chug-a-lug, makes you want to holler, hidey-ho, and Hilbert does get a great jump. He leads the Stampede down into the first corner of the number 52. Let's see how they fare going through corners 1 and 2. That is Pearson on the inside, Hazlick on the outside. He has nowhere to go. Trying to keep Hazlick's tuck out there is the New York rival Michael Goodman, pulling into 5th, Donnie Moore.
That battle for 3rd rages on. Goodman to the bottom, and we see the 93 stuck to the outside. Hazlip going to lose a spot. He's got a gap to get down into 4th position. Donnie Moore's going to try to look to his inside, not going to get there. Battle behind them. Jeffrey Harden on the inside with Joseph Snyder to the back. They are stacked up 2 by 2 right there. Joseph Snyder on the top, Adam Shane on the bottom. Behind that, the 31 of Machinowski. Snyder gets loose. He comes down into Shane. Both of them wreck. Shane back across the track into other cars. Tim Shinosky in the 07, Todd Liston both caught up in that. And you see Joseph Snyder pointed the wrong way there on the front stretch. Let's see what happened.
I believe Jason Menda might have got there so fast that he might have ghost contacted his way through. As he goes, oh my goodness, as Shane really gets turned upside down, but he doesn't go all the way over. What a ride for Adam.
Yeah, Adam Shane looks like the engine has a lot of damage right here, so he's probably going to be done for the night. That's unfortunate for him all this early in the race. You can see he just got a little high up there. That's Joseph Snyder, and man, he hit the inside wall a ton too. So if his night's not over, I'll be pretty surprised. Looking like he also has to go to the pits for some repairs along with Tim Shinosky, Adam Shane, as I mentioned before. So all 3 of those guys going to be down laps, if not out of the race.
Tip of the hat to the Canadian welder, John Wilson, in the 75. He was able to weave his way through there like a maple leaf in fall as he got his way through without any contact. Nice job for the number 75 as he's up 5 positions from where he started. Well, with the break in the action, Ricky, who would you like to talk to?
Yeah, let's talk to Joe Segala. Joe Segala was right behind that incident. He was riding behind J.R. Shepard, and it broke out. He saw a car helicoptering across the track, but he was able to miss it. Joe, how's the car feel out there? What'd you think about that incident?
Car's feeling pretty good. That hit there that Joe took looked like it hurt a little bit. Looked like he took a nosedive in my rearview mirror.
Joe, it's Soup. Have you been on the outside yet?
Not yet. I didn't get a chance to work with it and practice very much. If it's anything like last night, though, I do think eventually the outside's going to be the dominant line. I just don't know how well it's going to be with the gear ratio in these cars.
You talk gear ratio. What about tire wear compared to what we saw? I don't want to give away any spoilers last night, but the tires seemed to hold up pretty well on in the SK Modifieds. What do you think in the late models?
Be very, very careful. That's all I gotta say. I did 40 laps and dropped it down to 40% on my tires. So I got to take it a little easy.
All right, that's why we like these interviews. Good deal. Good luck.
Thank you.
And he will be on the outside this time, outside of J.R. Shepard back there on the 4th row. Steve Hilbert holding on to the lead up there, but J.R. Shepard already up to the 7th position after just a couple of laps in the green. So that bodes not so great for the rest of the field.
You're a Steve Hilbert fan. We know we wanted you'd like us to talk to him, but we wanted to give him just a little bit to catch his breath there before we go to him. If he's still in the lead on our next yellow, we'll definitely dial him up. As they come around ready to go green, our spotlighted driver, John Heiss, moved up into 16th. They come across the line, and it is indeed Hilbert who will lead them, working lap number 8. He's led all the way. The battle is for second. Goodman in the red and yellow number 28 underneath the double duck there of Bruce Pearson.
Yeah, he got a great jump on that restart. He jumped down to the bottom, got to the inside of Bruce Pearson. He wasted no time to do that, and they're still side by side for that second position. I got to believe the bottom's going to prevail early in this race. Now, that may change as the laps wear on, but Bruce Pearson really hanging on tough on the outside.
I think we'll learn a lot by staying on this battle for second. So with apologies to the rest of the drivers through the field, we're going to stay there, and let's see if it is indeed the outside or the inside line that prevails. And when it came to talent, I would say that Goodman and Pearson are pretty well matched. So you get a good idea of what line is actually faster. My goodness, if they're matched in talent, I'm saying the inside line and the outside line are also matched in speed. Look at this as they come out of 4. It's a dead heat across the line.
Yeah, the outside's already looking strong, and man, that tells me all I need to know about what's going to happen later in this race. Typically, it gets harder and harder to pinch that car off on the inside and maintain good exit speed as we get later in the race. So that tells me the top side might be a little more dominant as we get later in this race.
Ricky, we talked to Joe Segala, and you heard him worried about tire wear. Help me out a little bit. Who's using more tires right now, the inside Goodman or the outside Pearson?
Well, there's some trade-offs there, but typically early in the race when there's not a lot of rubber on the track, the outside burns tires a little bit more, and you see that Bruce Pearson prevailed finally on the outside. And that's only because you have to really drive a little harder to maintain your where you're standing, and there's less rubber up there, so you're just graining rubber off the tire.
You said Pearson prevailed. I'm not sure if that wasn't a game of chicken of who was willing to burn up the most rubber to get that spot. I almost think that Goodman may have just surrendered that spot and said, look, we're on lap 12. We don't need to be racing like this right now. So they are single file now all the way through the field. We look for a double file. There is not one to be found.
Yeah, we've been watching back here about where Austin Belke is. He's riding in that 12th position, and it looks like we got a pretty tight pack right here. John Wilson leading Todd Liston, and you've got Belke there behind him. But look at Goodman. He's going to make another move for that second spot under the double deuce of Bruce Pearson. He's going to see if he can give it another go. He cooled those tires off a little bit, sat in line behind him, and now he's just trying to do it. But, Pearson's giving it to him. He's just taking the outside lane and giving him the inside all he wants, just daring him to take it down there, I think.
Sometimes you wonder if the drivers aren't actually listening to the broadcasters. You almost feel that Goodman said, oh, yeah, Soup, you think I gave it to him? Well, I want it back right now. He settles down for third. Big mover is Jason Menda. He sits back in 7th position right now, just behind J.R. Shepard.
Yeah, and, that's what I was going to say. Look at who he's following. Good guy to follow when you want to learn how to manage your tires, but single file just biding their time right here. They're going to hang on to those tires until a little bit later, I got to believe. But, I'm seeing that the cars look very similar to the way they drove last night, the SK Modifieds. You're in the throttle quite a bit, and it's really hard to get a good run on somebody and try to make something happen. Last night, I really felt like I was a lot better than some of the cars around me, and I really couldn't mount a charge to make something happen. So that builds a lot of frustration. But I'll tell you the big difference in this car, and we're going to see that later, and that's tire wear. This car tends to wear tires out a lot faster than the SK Modified, and that's going to show up later. You're going to see who's been putting too much wheel in there.
Okay, the emails and the texts are beginning to pile in from the state of Ohio. Let's go ahead and put our camera on car number 52, Steve Hilbert, as the chief, former police chief of Plain City, Ohio, with a huge lead right now. Boy, I'm telling you, that's what you call cooking with hot fish grease. But I don't know if the chief is used to tire managing right now. He's just going to build up a big enough lead, and kind of reminds me of when you're watching like track and field and you see the miler getting out. He's the rabbit, setting the pace, nobody going with him.
Yeah, I don't think he's worried about tire wear right now. He's ready to just build as big of a lead as he can build, and he's hoping this thing goes green the whole way. Guess what? It went green the whole way last night, and I wouldn't put it past this race. So we just saw Austin Belke complete a pass on the 93 of Chris Hazlip. Hazlip has just been dropping like a rock since the drop of the rag. He's got John Hine looking to his inside right now. That's for the 12th position now. Hine goes down to the inside into turn number 1, trying to make something happen.
I wonder if John knows. He's probably listening to the broadcast, knows he's our spotlighted driver as well. So he moves up, trying to prove my partner wrong here and get to the under. To do that, he's got to get to the top 10. Pick up 1, 2, 3 more spots for the number 71 to get that done.
Yeah, just 2 spots now. He's up to that 12th spot right now.
Yeah.
And, man, he's looking pretty good. I might have underestimated him, but he was starting shotgun on the field, and so many things can happen to you when you start that deep in the field. So that contributed to my lack of faith, I'm sure. Austin Belke in front of him really looks like he's managing those tires well, doesn't he? He goes through those corners. Doesn't look like he's putting a lot of wheel into it. He's staying off those guys in front of him. Liston mounting a charge now to the inside of John Wilson. He's looking to the inside down to the turn number 3.
Going to see if he can make the inside part. Boy, you can see the 87. Ricky, when he tried to get down there, the car I guess it over-rotated, actually, because he was no way to get a grip.
Yeah, it looked like he got really loose down there in the center of 3 and 4. Now, that's something we did not feel in the SK Modified. It felt pretty stable all the way around, but that's interesting. I wonder if that's something we could watch out for. He's on that right rear tire again coming off of turn number 4. I saw that thing wiggling all over the place. John Hyde looking to the inside of Belke now. He's going to make that pass and get into the 11th spot.
Indeed, and he wants more. Look at John Hyde as Liston gets a little bit loose off of 2. He's going to pick up 1 more spot, and actually, if he can get this done, he will move to the under spot right now. Liston says no with a good drive off of 4. He's going to hang on to that top 10 position. Let's stay on this for a minute. Hyde on the inside, Liston on the outside.
Yeah, I really think that this is a lot of what's contributing to this is a little bit in front of them. J.R. Shepard, Jason Menda, those guys are really holding this line up. There is definitely tire management going on up there further ahead, and that's what John Hine is trying to capitalize on. You get these lines stacking up like this, and there might be some opportunities to make pass. Todd Liston got really, really high off of turn number 2 right there. You see Belke get by him as well, so he goes down a couple of spots. Hine testing the top line right now. Going to see if he can get to the outside of Wilson.
You see the action there as they start to go single file again. Let's go widescreen for a minute.
That's too high.
Yes, indeed. That's Ethan Sean trying to get down with Belke underneath him. I'll try to set the table for you. Now, 3.3 seconds ahead of everybody. It's Steve Hilbert. Let's look at Hilbert real quick. Just flash to him. Look at the gap he's got. Then it's about, I'm going to say, 20 car lengths back to this train of car that's led by Pearson, Goodman, Jeffrey Harden in it as well. They are all lined up behind him. Everybody is behind him. It goes all the way back to Kurt Smith in 16th. The last car, well, no, let me correct myself. Not the last car on the lead lap. There's a little bit more after Smith. You go back to Aiden Young, the 69. He is so competitive. Why have we heard much from Aiden Young? I bet you he's just waiting for that caution to come out, and he'll race a little harder the last half of the race.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. That's his MO. Every time we get into these races, we don't really hear anything from Aiden Young for a little while. And then all of a sudden, there's this car rolling around the outside and passing a bunch of guys and getting into the mix. And we say, where did that guy come from? It didn't never fail.
I'm hearing that the BRL officials now are sending out a notice for a doctor somewhere. They want to administer a blood test to Steve Hilbert at the end of the race to make sure he is actually Steve Hilbert, as he is coming up now on lapped traffic as he starts to run down Tip Shinoski.
Boy, I got to tell you, there's a hornet's nest back here with John Wilson and Joe Segala side by side coming off of turn number 4. John Hine trying to get in there as well. Austin Belke looking to his inside. This is just a hornet's nest. Something bad is going to happen if these guys stay on top of each other this long. Looks like Segala was able to make the pass around the outside of John Wilson. So looking at that outside, getting even stronger.
Oh my goodness, look at Hine. He was on the outside. He ducked down in front of both Liston and Belke, trying to get underneath Wilson. He loses a little bit of momentum there. There's not a lot of love lost between Hine and Belke there as they get so close together, but they don't touch.
Yeah, a little bit battle going on a little further ahead. There goes J.R. Shepard to the outside of Donnie Moore. He makes an easy pass around the outside. Mendo's going to look to the inside of Moore going down into turn number 3. Tight racing right here between these two. Mendo's going to be pinched all the way down to that inside line, and they're going to be side by side. A little bit of contact on the front straightaway. Mendo into the inside wall, and it just stopped his car. Oh my goodness, that's a tough hit, and Mendo is going to be done for the night. He hit. I'm going to tell you what happened here when we watch this replay. Mendo hit. There's a quarter-mile track that's here at the Fairgrounds, and Mendo hit right where the temporary walls start for the quarter-mile track, and it instantly stopped his car. Look at that. Just absolutely destroys, ripped the car apart. And everyone able to miss him.
That's Scott Ningas, who was too wide on the inside, was able to get by Ningas, who is a rookie. Might be making his series debut actually here. Had a nice run, started 20th, worked his way up. This one hurts. Very
tight for Ningas. Look at this. Oof. He makes it by. Looks like there's no contact right there. I think he's going to be just A-okay. But man, oh man, that was awfully close.
Okay, let's dial up the 52. I'll talk to him. This is Steve Hilbert. I'll take the first question. We'll go to our points leader, or our leader in the race. So we dial up former police chief Steve Hilbert. Okay, Steve, you probably didn't need that yellow. You had it all your way, man. You'd opened up almost a half-lap lead.
Yeah, it was nice to be up front for a while.
Any concern about tire wear, or are you just enjoying being out there in the clear air?
I'm enjoying being out here, and yes, I'm concerned about tire wear.
Ricky, got anything for the former police chief?
So you said it right there. You didn't want to see a caution flag come out, and it looked like you might get your way. Now that the caution has come out, what's the strategy? Just cooling down these tires?
Yep, exactly. I was hoping I could be out there enough that everybody'd have to burn theirs up catching up, but that didn't work out.
Well, it was a good strategy while it lasted. I think it could have worked had the caution not come out, but good luck. Hopefully you're able to hold on a little longer, hold these guys off the rest of this race. You only got about 59 laps to go right now.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
Steve Hilbert, your race leader right now. You know, the advantage that Hilbert had was Pearson. Goodman was not going to make it easy on Pearson. They were going to fight, so it's possible that Hilbert might have been able to sneak away a little bit farther while the rest of them worked for position. You know, Shepard's going to try to work his way through there too. So how fast were those guys going to close? What do they call it in bicycle racing? Was the peloton going to get to him, you know?
Yeah, depending on how bad the tire wear is, I'm not sure that they would have got them if they had gone green. He built such a big lead that it was going to be insurmountable at some point. So I really hate it for him because I think it was a good strategy while the green was remaining out right there. But if we want to talk about some horseshoes being stuck in orifices, the 98 car is going to restart on the inside again right here in the 5th position. But, hey, we talked about a minute ago, the outside looks like it's starting to be a little bit stronger. But after tires cool down, sometimes that inside lane can be a little bit more viable for at least a little while.
Look, I'm a fan of the saying, you make your own luck. But after a while, you just have to think that whatever happens to J.R. Shepard, it seems like he always misses the incident, always gets the inside grid to start on. He's up to 5th. Now, this is interesting. Last time Hilbert got the race, when he started the race, he was on the inside. But let's see if the outside works a little better now with Pearson. Great jump from Hilbert. Holy moly. Lincoln blinking and nod for Bruce Pearson as he was asleep.
Yeah, Bruce Pearson just could not get that thing rolling. But look at the run those guys got off of turn number 2. Looked like Michael Goodman got a great run through turns 1 and 2, and then he had to check up a little bit, and Pearson just came in there charging into turn number 3, and he's going to take back the 2nd position. That's really interesting right here. J.R. Shepard moves up into the 4th spot. He's going to look to the outside of Goodman right here, so that tells you where he thinks the speed's going to be right now.
Hilbert's going to have to take his half out of the middle because they're coming from the top and the bottom. Now Pearson gets the best of it. Goodman falls back. Look at this. Shepard's going to roll the top.
Yeah, these guys are stacked up for several rows right here. There's a lot of fighting going on back here through the field. Sigala and Hine got into each other a little bit off of turn number 2, and all these guys stacked up from J.R. Shepard and Michael Goodman on back. Everyone looking for a place to go. Now, I really think that J.R. Shepard and Jason Minda both have done a really good job saving their tires, but I have to mention that Jason Minda is out of the race after running into the wall right there, so J.R. Shepard probably has the best tires on there. But look at Jeffrey Harden. He's going to look to the inside of Michael Goodman going down to the turn number 1, and he's not going to give up that win just yet.
Remember, Jeffrey Harden is racing for the win, but he's also got a big picture race as well as he sits at the top of the points. Let's go up and look at the 22 real quick, as we're going to leave that 2-wide battle for a minute. Ricky, I need your help. I wonder if, as Hilbert drifts up and has a hard time keeping the car down, I wonder if Pearson is leery to try the bottom side, because I'm not sure that's going to work. And if he does go down low, he almost gives the spot to Shepard.
Well, I can give you my insight from last night, and it was that I would not take the inside after a certain number of laps. I had many opportunities to go down there. I was riding behind Austin Belke. I felt a lot faster, and I could have jumped down. I had big runs. I could have jumped down there, but I knew that if I did that, I was potentially going to give up the third position, or fall back to the third position by getting trapped on the inside, so I didn't want to do that. Right now, I think Bruce Pearson is just kind of holding back and trying to manage the tires a little bit. I don't think he's driven them as hard as Hilbert. So I think he's got something left in the tank, and maybe he thinks, I need to stay just as close to J.R. Shepard as I can so I have something later, and maybe I can stay in front of him until the closing laps.
We are past the halfway mark right now. And I'll tell you, there's a man out there doing a rain dance, and that is Steve Hilbert. He would like to have the Tennessee skies open up and for them to call this race early. Unfortunately, iRacing has not implemented rain on ovals yet.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever going to put rain on the ovals, but you sure can get it on the road courses these days. Look at J.R. Shepard, big run at the 22 of Bruce Pearson coming off of turn number 4. He's going to look to the inside going down into turn number 1, and they're going to battle side by side.
Look at the run there from Pearson on the top side, and that is an indication. When you see Pearson get the best of Shepard on corner exit, you got to know that he's in the line that you want to race on. He does it one more time. Shepard says, yes, but I'm an 18-time champion, and I can pass you even if it's not the optimal racing line. Pearson and Shepard side by side. This is fun. One guy with no championships, one guy with 18, one guy on the preferred racing line, one guy not. And look, Shepard's going to make it work.
Yeah, he gets a good run, but here comes Pearson. That first time on the inside. Caution is out. J.R. Shepard's going to keep that second spot. There's a wreck out of turn number 4. It's John Hine, our spotlighted driver. Let's see what happened to him.
Things were going so well for John.
Oh, he just gets a little out of the groove. Let's watch him. You see him, he drifts up into the marbles, and it just gets loose on him. And he goes around. Oh, big contact for Shinosky, who was actually in the pits fixing damage for quite a while. I also think Chris Hazlip got quite a bit of damage there. He bounced off behind and then into the inside wall. And not sure about Kurt Smith. Kurt Smith looked like maybe he got into the side or Hine got into the side of him. But I think he may have gotten away unscathed.
So we come back live, and you're looking at that white number 52. And as he crosses the line, it's going to be 57 laps out front for Steve Hilbert. His little brother Tom is also in this race, sitting in a good spot in 15th right now. If the race were indeed to open up, if the skies were to open up and it were to rain, Steve would get the win. Tom Hilbert would get the invert to the pole for round number 4. No rain, though. Just, folks, I just want to, page 17 of the commentator's handbook says put drama in the event whenever possible. Let me rest easy for you all watching. There will be no rain. And also, I can inform you that the Godzilla element of iRacing has not also been implemented yet. I can't wait for that one, though. That's going to be great.
Yeah, I think Hilbert's going to be looking for a similar restart to what he had last time. Got a great launch and got away really quickly. If he can do that, then maybe he can maintain this lead a little longer. And if this thing turns into a bit of a start-stop fest, he might be able to maintain it deep into this race. Why don't we pull up Bruce Pearson and talk to him real quick, riding in the third position. He's been up there all day long. J.R. Shepherd just got around the outside. Bruce, Ricky Harden up in the booth. What do you got left in the tank? You got any tires?
I've been trying not to chase down to 52 and stay calm, even though I got guys all over me, but I'm trying to stay calm and save them. So I think I got a little bit more than what I usually do. I usually burn them off pretty quickly.
Shepard got you on the inside. You put up a good battle. Now he's on the outside. And what are you feeling like? Do you like the outside line?
The outside line has a lot of momentum. I can get a jump on him maybe off the start if I get on Steve's butt right away, but I didn't want to put up too much of a fight. I want to sit my tires.
Boy, you have really... I remember in your younger days, well, when you were just starting out, saving tires was something that you struggled with. You got it now. We'll keep an eye on you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
I had one piece of advice for Bruce Pearson. This is not the time to save tires. Get under J.R. Shepherd and make him fight. Try to push him back a little bit.
Okay, you saw the great start that Hilbert had on when Pearson was to his outside. I'd be surprised if he gets that kind of jump. Boy, you talk about inexperience against experience here. Hilbert and Shepherd. I have to play it straight. They pay us to call them straight, but in my heart, you gotta hope for the upset here. As Steve Hilbert has really been out in front, 60 laps, 40 to go. Let's see what happens as they come out at quarter number 4 here. And we're going to be going green, working lap number 62 when they cross the line. There it is, a good jump. Oh, look what Pearson has done, but he can't get it going.
Yeah, J.R. Shepherd got a great jump as well on the outside, and he's going to have a really good run looking out of turn number 2 right here. Here he goes. He's right on the back end of Steve Hilbert. Oh! He has to check up. Hilbert kind of blocked both lanes right there, but J.R. Shepherd's going to go to the bottom anyway, and here we are. J.R. Shepherd to the lead. Lap number 62 is complete, and finally the 98 is up to the front. But here comes Bruce Pearson as well. He's going to look to the inside as Hilbert. He's going to try to take that second spot away from Hilbert. And he does it. Jeffrey Harden in the 36, that beautiful black, orange, yellow, and red machine. He's going to take that third position up onto the podium. And now Hilbert is struggling. Those tires have given up the ghost. They're side by side behind him. It's going to be Goodman looking at the inside. There's going to be a little bit of contact between them. Yeah. Hilbert goes around. He's hard into the outside wall. And the 26 of Donnie Moore just ballparked it. He went through a billboard. Donnie Moore went through a billboard, and he went out of the ballpark. He's back to pit lane. Oh, my goodness, that is not what you want to see. There's no fence out here on the back straightaway at the Fairgrounds Speedway, and he launched over Steve Hilbert and went out of the ballpark. You see him just disappear. That means he went back to his pit stall after going out of the park. And we saw the 75 of John Wilson get involved. Kurt Smith got involved. Man, it's just unfortunate for Steve Hilbert. He really just tried to close the door a little too tight there on Goodman. He really didn't give Goodman any room, nowhere to go, and into the outside wall he went.
Oh, my goodness. Put the hammer in the oven because the camel has learned to read. That's something you just don't see very often. That's like out of something out of the mid-'60s. As the car leaves the track.
Boy, I want to shout out Scott Negus right there, newcomer to this series here. Scott Negus did a wonderful job missing that incident. Why don't we pull him up here and have a chat with him, because that was some great accident avoidance. He gets on the binders as they're wrecking in front of him. Scott, this is Ricky Harden up at the booth. You saw that big melee happen in front of you, got on the binders, and how'd you make it through there?
I have absolutely no idea. I seen him going sideways and bouncing off the wall. I thought the only escape route was low, and happened to get through.
Scott, it's soup. That's the second one that you almost got involved in. You had a real close call with the car that basically caromed off the inside wall. You were too wide, just enough room to sneak by earlier.
Yeah, before the race, I rubbed a bunch of Vaseline down both sides of the car so that everything would slip off it.
Oh, those Canadians are so sneaky. Well, congratulations, man. We'll keep an eye on you up sitting on 6. And I guess you're on the outside line. That's probably not the worst place to be right now, huh?
No, the tires are working good out there, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. Scott Negus, newcomer, started in 20th, up to 6th.
And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention he was fastest in practice.
Right.
So he's got a little bit of pace in there. If he's managed the tires like I think he thinks he has, he might be in a really good spot here on this restart, coming down to about the three-quarter mark of the race when we restart.
Pulled back the curtain here on VG, and before we actually went live with the broadcast, both Ricky and I were talking about him being so fast in practice. First thing we did was look to see how he fared in round 2 to see where he was going to grid up, and he wasn't here for last round, so that's why he started so far back. Negus is a guy to keep an eye on. He's new to the series. He looks very quick.
I also want to mention Jeffrey Harden up there in the third position, going to restart right behind J.R. Shepard. And, when you're in that third spot, you do have the advantage of being able to launch right when the leader launches because you can see what he's doing. And I think Jeffrey's done a good job managing the tires tonight.
Of course, his wife Brandy watching on, with standing behind him in his racing rig with a frying pan. They struggle financially, so they can't afford one of those butt kicker devices that some of us use to. So basically, she stands behind him, and when Jeffrey puts it in the wall, she just slams him with the frying pan. It's
oh my gosh.
It's archaic, but effective. All right. Working lap number 70 as we go green. Good jump from Shepard.
Yeah, and the connection gremlins are reaching out and biting Jeffrey Harden there, and he probably couldn't really see where JR was. Didn't get the best of launches, but he's still going to get the second position from the 22 of Bruce Pearson coming off of turn number 2. And, just about clears him, but Bruce Pearson really sailed it down in there to turn number 3. Not going to get a big enough run off of turn 4. You see Jeffrey Harden close the door on him, and look at Austin Belke back there in that fourth position. He's been moving on up all race long and trying to make something happen back there in the 24 machine.
So now as a commentator, my job becomes twofold. I have to tell you about the action on the track, but also paint the picture of the point standing. Remember, Jeffrey Harden came into this with the points lead. He's sitting in second right now. This is going to be good for him. He knows how to win a championship. He has one of these from season 22. That's about 3 or 4 seasons ago, so he can do it. Another one to watch out for is the guy that my partner just talked about on the interview there, Scott Negus. Let's see what he can do. He's racing in 6th position, fastest in practice. What does he have left for guys like Liston and Belke?
Yeah, and when we talk about the point standings, Jeffrey Harden is going to grow that point lead tonight if nothing bad happens to him. Liston way out of the groove right there, just about caught the wall. And Liston is the closest competitor to him on the track. He's only 2 points back in the point standings. So that's really who he's battling. Adam Shane is second in points, and he's going to finish dead last tonight. So big gains for Jeffrey Harden. Aiden Young also making his way through the field. He gets by the 87 of Todd Liston as Liston had the trouble up there in the marbles. Liston's going to look down to the inside again underneath Aiden Young. But Aiden Young, he likes to roll that top side. This is a good track for him, I believe.
And honestly, I wasn't doing my job, but we know better than to not pay attention to what Aiden Young is doing. We mentioned him briefly, being stuck farther back. He was waiting for that caution flag, and now he is in the hunt. Negus has moved up to 5th. Let's watch Negus work on Belke and Pearson. Don't think these guys have much for the guy up front. I say that. Look how Shepard is not really pulling away from Harden.
Yeah, I told you, I think Jeffrey Harden's been managing those tires tonight as well, and he's really closed that gap on J.R. Shepard the last couple laps. But we know J.R. Shepard, he tends to manage the gap a little bit. He knows what he's doing out here. He doesn't need to build a bigger than necessary lead. If you have a late restart, look at Negus looking to the bottom a little further back on Austin Belke. He tried to make that happen. Hey, Scott Negus is the biggest mover of this race. He's up 15 positions. A lot of the guys around him all up a lot of positions. You'll also see that Belke right in front of him looking to the inside of the 22 of Bruce Pearson. Belke is already up 12 spots. Bruce Pearson hadn't moved up or down this race. Oh, man, Hilbert going to the pits right there. They're going to make a little contact off of turn number 4. Belke on the bottom, Pearson on the top. They all get away unscathed.
Pearson stuck up there. I wonder how much the 22 has left. We heard in the interview he's trying to save his stuff. Let's see if Negus can work the low side. One disadvantage that Negus has is he doesn't know the names and the reputations of the drivers he's racing with. Now, with apologies to the 24, drivers tend to give the 24 a little more room than they do the 22.
Ooh, but that's it. Negus goes around. Negus goes around off the bumper of Bruce Pearson. Todd Liston also going to bob. That's going to bring the caution out with 20 laps to go as they come back to the line. Man, right there, it looked like Negus came off the bottom ever so slightly, but honestly, I think they just got hooked together, and maybe the 22 even came down the track a little bit to get into the right rear. You're going to see it here a little bit past the initial contact right there. Here you go. Right here, you see the 22 starts to come off the bottom just a hair, but look at the 22. He juts toward that bottom lane and just catches him in the right rear. They just came together, right?
The 22 was drifting up, but I mean, the 29 was drifting up, but I think from that view, I think Pearson got a little bit loose and the car went a little tighter than he would have thought. You're not driving to the store getting a gallon of milk. That's going to happen.
Yeah, great run for Scott Negus tonight.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. His engine looks to have expired in that incident, so I don't believe we'll see him back on the track tonight. That's just, I mean, too bad for Scott Negus after a good run. Todd Liston also dealing with a significant amount of damage. He's going to go laps down in this. And, man, it's looking better and better for Jeffrey Harden out there when we talk about the point standings. The next three guys behind him, Adam Shane, Todd Liston, and Matt Hoos, are not having good nights or are not here. So he is doing very well, looking to extend that point lead.
I can just imagine in my head Austin Belkey watching the replay of this race with his lovely fiance, and set a date for that, by the way, Austin. That's the meaning of the word fiance. Watching this and saying, Soup, what do you mean they give me more room? I did fine, and it was indeed Bruce Pearson that got a little bit loose and got into Negus. So I hear you, Austin. I'm with you, baby.
So while we're circulating under caution, why don't we talk to the caveman, Trey Bloom?
Oh, yeah.
Trey Bloom is up 14 positions. He's really just been making spots by attrition, I think, out there. But I wonder how he's managed his tires. Trey Bloom, this is Ricky Harden up in the booth. How are you feeling out there? Have you managed your tires?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I've been trying to save them starting in the back, so I think we're feeling all right.
Trey, it's Soup here. I'm going to change subject. How's that cancer research coming? Any breakthroughs you want to announce here on VGN?
I don't think I'd be allowed to quite yet, but no, we're working pretty hard. We got some good stuff going, so yeah, it's going great.
Let me give you a tip. Apricot pits, okay? Just check into it, all right?
Okay.
All right. Trey Bloom. We joke about it, but he is indeed a scientist who does cancer research. So, Ricky, I was trying to break a little bit of VGN here. See if we can do a little CNN, VGN.
Sounds great, man. Look at who we got. Well, let's cast of characters up front.
I know who you're going to talk about.
Easy for us to say. Aiden Young
on the outside
in that fourth position on the outside. This is a great top four. I think there's a lot to talk about right here. J.R. Shepard, we know him. We know how good he is. He's going to get a great restart, but I also think that Jeffrey Harden has done a good job managing tires. Aiden Young's obviously done a good job managing tires. He's been hanging out at the back for more than half of the race, and now he's worked his way into the top four. What do you think?
I would not. It's so hard to say what Young has left, but he is so good. And we know how incredibly slow he was as the pace car is about to pull in on the early part of the race. He just was not competitive at all. He was just waiting for the opportunity for the yellow flag to bring them all together. All right. No surprise, Shepard gets a jump. The real question will be, what can Young do with Belkey on the inside? Young is going to need some racing room, Ricky. I think Harden might give him a hard time in front.
Yeah, I don't think Harden's going to give up the outside lane. If he learned anything last night, and if we've seen what we think we've seen tonight, the outside lane just rolls that momentum. You're not going to let a guy get up there if you feel like that might be the weak spot. But look at Jeffrey Harden. He's not worried about those guys behind him. They're racing side by side for the third position, but he's just trying to close the gap on the 98 machine. Belkey still to the inside of Aiden Young. He's trying to make it happen, but man, I really think that top side's got the advantage. Aiden Young got a little bit high right there. I think a little bit higher than he wanted to, and that cost him a little bit of speed, but he still has the momentum to clear for the third spot.
The good news for Young, I guess, is that he lost touch with Harden, which left him room to tuck in front of Belkey. If falling farther behind the guy you're chasing is actually good news, but it allows him to tuck into third. Now he can run down Harden, and then you have Harden, who's going to race twofold. He would like to get Shepard, but he's got to be a realist. Probably not going to get JR, especially since the initials JR stands for junk rubber. And here we are on lap 90. You know that his parents named him appropriately because they knew he was going to be a sim race driver and the tires are going to go away, and that's when he's at his best. But the question is, how much of a battle will Harden put up if Young gets there? What about Segala in fifth? How about that? Little mention, huh?
Yeah, look at that. Segala rolling his way up into fifth. He's been into a couple of incidents tonight, but able to make his way forward anyway. The field is a little bit smaller than it was at the start of the race, Everyone had about a 5 or 6 car length gap between them here in the top 5, but I do see that Aiden Young starting to close the gap on the 36 of Jeffrey Harden. He's starting to reel him in, and I think Belkey's starting to reel the 69 in as well. John Wilson getting way out of the way while those guys go by. So J.R. Shepard starting to extend that lead, coming back to 8 laps to go. It looks like it might be a battle for second.
Wilson, the Canadian driver, putting that car up in the northern frozen tundra, making sure everyone gets underneath them okay. Been a tough night for the Canadians. Negas got involved in that one. He's back there in 14th position. Wilson racing too far back in 6th. Steve Hilbert, our pole sitter, well, he's in 15th position. This is interesting. He's out. I don't think anyone's going to... Wilson, that's why Wilson is orbiting around like he is. He's looking to get to that 15th spot. Wilson is 23 laps down. Yeah.
And he has enough laps to do it. He's got to do that for 2 more laps. Hilbert, I don't think, has a car that can return to the track right now. So he's going to get that 15th spot.
It has been a fun race. Shepard comes across the line, working lap number 95. He's got a handful to go.
Yeah, and they're getting closer and closer to each other for that second position.
Yep.
Harden maintaining a little bit of a gap over the 69 of Aiden Young. The 24 has closed the gap quite a bit on Aiden Young in the last lap or two. He's been running last lap about a half a tenth faster than Aiden Young. Let's see what he can do this time. Another half a tenth faster, and you can see now he's got less than a car length to the back bumper of the 69.
This will be fun. With apologies to the rest of the field, we're going to focus our attention on this battle for second the rest of the way.
Yeah, that lap, Aiden Young was a half a tenth faster than Jeffrey Harden. Belkey was a half a tenth faster than Aiden Young. So that just shows you how the yo-yo is closing in here in the closing laps.
Harden is going to leave the inside open, basically a really late entrance in there. If you want to go down low, you got it. Look what Aiden Young has done. You know, it's probably insulting to the rest of the field, sans J.R. Shepard, but really what Harden is doing right now, these guys are racing for what we like to joke about best in class, the non-Shepard class.
That's right, and here we come. 2 laps to go at the line. Harden's got just a half a car length over Aiden Young, and Aiden Young has a half a car length over Austin Belkey. So far, no one coming at anybody with a run right yet. But the 24 machine gets a decent run off of turn number 2, and they're going to close together even more. Harden comes right back to the front bumper of the 69 Aiden Young. The white flag is out for J.R. Shepard up there at the front.
We'll stay on it. Now we go to the leaders. He comes out of 3 into 4 right now. Coming out of the final corners, he heads into 3 and 4. It's going to be the second win. Yes, he is well down on the points, but each win brings him closer. Now look at the battle for second. Young tries to take a peek on the inside, but there's nothing on that inside line that'll work. Jeffrey Harden, even though he loses a point to J.R. Shepard, if he only loses 1 per race, will not get there. This is a win for Jeffrey Harden. Aiden Young does what Aiden Young does, Ricky. Goes from 19th to 3rd.
Yeah, great run right there. You know, Harden got a little bit of the apron in turn number 2 when we were looking at J.R. Shepard, and that cost him some momentum, and Young looked to the inside, but I just don't think the inside line had quite enough, and it almost cost Aiden Young 3rd position, but able to hold on over Belkey, and there it is. J.R. Shepard making the donuts after another dominating performance.
Oh my goodness, makes me want to have some coffee. The racing is over, our broadcast is not. We'll take a short break, come back, run down the entire finishing order, talk to 3 of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate, hand you your hat, and say goodnight. Don't go far, you're watching VGN. Welcome back to the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and VGN's third round coverage of the Bootleg Racing League's Late Model Invitational Series, Season 26. All right, the racing is over. Let's go ahead and give you the finishing order right now. Going from 11th to 1st is J.R. Shepard. That's his second win of the season. Remember, he missed the season opener, so he's trying to close the gap on the entire field. He's not going to be able to close it fast enough if the man he's chasing in the point lead, Jeffrey Harden, continues to finish second. That's exactly what Harden did tonight. Aiden Young, he just played possum for about the first 40 laps of this race. Then when he got caught up, thanks to a yellow flag, showed us what he had, worked us all the way up to third position. If he had another 50 laps, who knows, he might have been able to get the win. Austin Belkey and Joe Segala go 4th and 5th. Nice run from Joe Segala. Michael Goodman, Trey Bloom, 6th and 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Tom Hilbert, Todd Liston, and Bruce Pearson. Ricky?
Finishing in the 11th spot, it's the 93, Chris Hazlip. We saw him dropping like a rock early in the race, but able to take advantage of some of the attrition later on. Kurt Smith, we saw him involved in a couple late incidents, finishes in the 12th position. John Hine, not quite able to cash in on the under, finished 13th, 9 laps down. The rest of these guys all had quite a bit of trouble tonight. Scott Negus, we saw it. He finished 14th. John Wilson's going to finish 15th.
Look what he did.
Pole for next week.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to do. Steve Hilbert, he was trying to circulate out there, but couldn't make it happen. But what a great run for Steve Hilbert early in this race. Really impressive to see him pull that kind of a lead. Comes home in 16th. Donnie Moore 17th. Tim Shinosky 18th. Jason Menda 19th. And Matt Shinosky finishes in the 20th spot.
21 and 22 is Joe Snyder and Adam Shane. Look, if you're from north of the border and you want to cheer for your guys, well, tune in next week because finishing 15th position is John Wilson, the Canadian. He'll start on the pole. In 14th, Scott Negus, the Canadian rookie. He'll be starting outside of him. How about an all Maple Leaf front row for round number 4? That'll be fun. With that said, we get to talk to a man who's been on the front row a lot. Well, I don't know, not so much on the front row because he usually has to grid farther back in the pack, but he finishes up front a lot, and that is J.R. Shepard. J.R.'s second win of the season. Easy or hard tonight?
It wasn't bad. I think the cautions played a big part tonight because this is a track that typically has high tire wear in it, and those cautions just allow the tire temps to come down so they don't wear as badly as they normally would at a place like this. So I think it'd have been a much tougher race had it stayed green, but still a lot of fun, still a lot of strategy came into it tonight.
Okay, so help me understand this. So if you were to run 70 laps, let's say the race is 100 laps and you had 30 laps of caution, by the end, even though you ran 70 green flags laps, they're going to be feeling better than if you ran 70 in a row. Does the heat wear the tires out faster?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's different in every car, but once you get the temperature up to a certain range, the tires start wearing pretty fast. Especially if you don't try to ease up a little bit and cool them back down, and it's hard from the driver's seat to really know when you've gotten to that threshold on the tire wear. So definitely, anytime you can have cautions, it's going to allow those tire temps to come back down, and you're going to be able to run 10, maybe 15 laps before you get back to that range where you'll start to wear the tires again.
I love interviews. I learned so much. All right, JR, congratulations on the win. Do your thing.
Yeah, thanks guys for everything that you do up in the booth and on the Virtual Grip Network side. We really appreciate you guys making us look good each and every week. Bootleg Racing League for giving us a place to come out and run on the weekends. It makes it a lot of fun, especially when it's good, respectful racing. My team, Different Path Motorsports, and I give a shout out to my teammate Austin Belkey. He came from further back and just narrowly missed that on third, so good job of him.
Was indeed. Congratulations, J.R. Shepard, with the second win. Picks up 1 point as he closes in on the points leader, Jeffrey Harden, and that's who my partner gets to talk to.
Yes, sir. Jeffrey Harden finishes in that second spot in the beautiful black, yellow, orange, and red California Sim Club machine. Jeffrey, you looked like you were mounting a charge on J.R. Shepard. What did you feel that you had late in the race for him?
Not much. I was just trying to get a gap in front of everybody else because it felt like it was falling off.
Well, it was a great points night for you tonight. Is that what you saw in your windshield when you saw only J.R. Shepard out there in front of you?
Yeah, I'm trying to stay on JR like white on rice and make it impossible for him to get ahead of me in the point.
What was the tire wear like out there tonight? We saw several cautions kind of slow the pace and let you heat cycle the tires, but you say you felt like you were falling off late?
Yeah, I'd say the last 15 laps on that lap, after that last restart, about 5 or so laps into that, it got real slick on the front. It was wanting to push hard, so trying to back up my entry a little bit, and I could see JR pulling away and everybody else coming in. So, yeah, good thing it wasn't 102 laps.
Well, good job hanging on to the second spot there at the end. Who would you like to thank?
First, I'd like to congratulate my team, Loose Lugs, all 4 of us up in the top 10. Great job, guys. I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Brandy, my friends and family out there watching, you guys up in the booth, and all the guys in the league.
There you have it. Jeffrey Harden finishes in the second spot. Tough battle tonight, and he was able to hang on.
Well, we get to talk to the Vermont, New Hampshire fireman, Aiden Young, who spent the first half of the race asleep in his fireman bed there, just kind of saving his tires. Is that what was going on, Aiden? You just kind of playing possum early on?
Yeah, pretty much. I've never driven a car that hard in my life. That was strange.
Well, you sure did come at the end. Once you got a yellow flag, you got caught up with the guys. Outside lines seemed to be the way to go. Is that what worked for you?
It was really sketchy, and probably not many guys could do it, but it was sketchy.
How much did you have left at the end? Did you have anything for Harden?
No, the right front was burning off. If we had 5 more laps, I think I would have been in the wall.
Well, you don't want to leave any on the rims. You can't take it to you when you die. So that's what my dad told me, that you can't take rubber with you to heaven. All right, we're going to get you out of here on our poll question. I don't think I got to ask you this one yet. I may have. If you had your choice of any superhero power, what would it be? Give us some thought. It's a tough one. I'm voting for talking to the fishes. If you're really struggling for something, that's the one. What do you think? Superhero power you'd love to have? You can only have one.
Probably flying.
Being able to fly. That's race drivers always like that. But that was Jason Mendes' thought as well. Hey, Aiden, congratulations. Thank you for everything you do here when you come. And you always put on a good show, and for the work you do in the real world as well. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
He's out there saving lives as a fireman. Doesn't have a pole in the fire station, though. I got to work on that. Well, with that said, we're just about ready to wrap this up. But if you like this broadcast, we're going to do it again next Saturday night at the very same time if my director has done his job. Yeah, look right up there. We're going to go to Slinger. Oh, that's fun. You never know what's going to happen when you go to Slinger. That's a different type of short track racing. That's going to be same bat channel, same bat station right here on Saturday night. But before then, you want something completely different? How about me and Shaggy Chapman heading over we're going to go over to the Netherlands there, and we're going to go to Zandvoort for some F1A, F4 Series Formula Needle Racing. That's open-wheeled road racing, folks. It'll be fun. And who knows, it may rain. That broadcast, future broadcast, past broadcasts, all a production of the Virtual Grip Network. With that said, let me head on into the coat closet. Look for your hat. I don't see a hat. So I'll just come on out, shake your hand, say we'll try to do better next time. Until then, have fun storming the castle.